We've been talking about Psalm 127 and how God builds our family and is the foundation of our home as moms. Today we're going to talk about 5 traps that moms fall into and their solutions with Bible verses. So here we go. Number 1, isolation. We think that it is heroic to go it alone, to not need anyone's help, to do everything by ourselves. It makes us a super mom. It gives us, it empowers us. But I'm here to tell you that is not true. In fact, when we are in isolation, the only voices that we are hearing are our own and the devil's. And obviously, if you're seeking God, you'll also be hearing God's voice, but it won't be as loud if it's just Him and the devil and your own, because your own is broken. And your weaknesses are amplified in isolation. Anything that you already tend towards, anger, impatience, apathy, selfishness, all of that is going to be amplified when you're just by yourself and there's nobody speaking truth into that. So our solution, Galatians 6:2 says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. It doesn't say carry each other's burdens so that it can be a little easier for you. It doesn't say carry each other's burdens so that you can have more fun. Although those are true. It is easier, it is more fun. But it says carry each other's burdens so you may fulfill the law of Christ. So we can obey God better. We need other people around us, speaking truth into our lives, holding us accountable, calling us out when they see that sin again and again. All right, number 2, comparison. We all knew that this one was going to be one of the traps. You already thought in your head of someone that you compare yourself to, or something in your family that you think is not measuring up, that you are comparing to everyone that you meet. Oh, is your daughter crawling yet? Is your son have straight A's? Is your house clean? There are always those things that we have in our head of I don't measure up. But measure up to what? Even if you have one specific person in your mind that you are comparing yourself to, you're not comparing yourself to that real person. You're comparing yourself to what they present to the world plus what you project onto them. So this is no longer a real person. This is your idea of what you think they are. And that's not real life. And that leads to us speaking into ourselves a lot of negativity that isn't even real. So our solution to comparison, Galatians 6:4, this is the same passage that we just heard about community and isolation. Galatians 6:4 says, each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. How do we test our own actions? Well, first we need to know our own actions. We need to be vulnerable with the people in our community. We need to show them the real us and allow them to have full access so that they can hold us accountable, so they can call us out. We need to show our real selves, and then we can see our real selves. And we can take pride in ourselves because we can see our own strengths as well as our own weaknesses. All right, number 3, complaining. I'm gonna be the bearer of bad news. Venting is also complaining. And complaining and venting, you are staying in your own mindset. If you go on and on and on talking about this thing that happened that was unfair to you, you are not looking for a solution. You are staying stuck in exactly the mindset that you want to be in. And you want other people around you to just validate what you're already thinking. You're not looking for someone to solve your problem. You're just looking for someone to cement your justice, your rightness. The solution to this, James 5:16. Therefore, confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. If you're truly looking for healing, true healing, after something has happened to you that you want to complain about, confession and prayer together. with each other, not just to God, but confession to each other and prayer with each other. Now you might say, but in this situation, I did nothing wrong. It was 100% them, it was not me at all. Okay, that might be true. But if you are in the habit of regularly confessing your sins to each other, then you will be always receiving grace, and you will be much quicker to give grace to others. You'll be much quicker to ask, well, what's the full picture? And you will be in a right relationship with the community around you so that you have support in what to do next in that situation, if it's truly a situation of injustice. Number 4, hurry. We take upon ourselves the responsibility of our whole family and maybe more people than that. As moms, often we think that it is our job to get to school on time, to have our kids' homework done, for our babies to meet their milestones, for our husbands to be getting their work in on time, for us to have an amazing career that we are always on time to, and that we never have to stay home for a sick day with our kids. We're just always feeling responsible for all of these things, which makes us in a hurry. And often that leads us to being very impatient or irritable with the people that we feel like are standing in the way of our goal, and we need to change that. And often the people standing in the way of our goal is our own families. So, I mean, how many times are you on the way out the door for church and you are not being slow to anger? You're saying, come on, we gotta go. Why didn't you go to the bathroom 5 hours ago when you woke up? We've got to go to church right now. But this is not how Jesus lived. He slowed down. He spent time with God before anything else happened so that his spirit was ready for whatever came. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted in the heavens, in the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." And if we stop and we spend that time with God and we look at the amazing things that he's made, that he's given us, if we stop, instead of yelling at our children to clean up their toys, we stop for 1 second and look at them and go, wow, that God knit you together in my womb or in someone else's womb, and you are amazing. Like, look at all of these qualities that you have that God gave you. And we spend time in wonder at God's works. It forces us to slow down instead of hurrying. And it's incredible how that changes our perspective. Now, this is something that we are all still working on. We will still be working on until the day we die. I'm not saying that I am perfect at this. In fact, it's like one of my goals for this year. But it will change our perspective if we first wonder at God. All right, number 5, we are in an identity crisis. We think we are moms first, but I'm here to tell you it is not true. It's very tempting because for many of us, our body was the only thing sustaining the baby at the beginning. Like, that was our identity. It felt like, because that was our body's job. For 9 months and more, if we were breastfeeding, that was what our body was designed to do. But I'm here to tell you, first, God knit you together in your mother's womb. Psalm 139:13. He first made you his child. He made you belong to him first. And then he gave you these other roles as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter, in your job, in your vocation, serving in church. He gave you those other roles, but first, he made you belong to him. So first, we need to seek him. Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." All the things that he's talking about in Matthew 6, food, clothes, like basic provisions that we think, oh, well, we should take care of those first and then have our quiet time. But God says, seek me above everything. Above grocery shopping, above being a mom. First, you are my child. And once we do that, once we seek Him first, all of these things will fall into place. We will hear His voice, and we will be in community with each other. We will not be afraid to confess, to be vulnerable, and we will be His child. So our 5 traps: isolation, comparison, complaining, hurry, and identity crisis. And what's our solution? Community, vulnerability, confession, wonder, and seeking God first.